Ia! How to scam an entire country. E vorba de noi, chat.
The year is 1992. You're a simple Romanian citizen struggling to make
Ei, yo, bro, așa arată românii cu aia. Din ce joc e ăsta? Că e dintr-un joc. E dintr-un joc.
ends meet and feed yourself and your family in a
dintr-un joc cu aia.
deep, corrupt, unstable,
Hello, Ducky.
unbothered, and poverty-stricken
Red Mercy de Life, mai am o oră
Te
jumate
pup,
la
bro,
muncă.
spor la muncă acolo, spor la muncă.
country. But
Din nou, I'm not human? What? Am dat de el sau n-am dat de el până acum?
not all hope is lost. Descending like an
Balenciaga
angel
tracks.
from the skies, a humble
Găsești
gentleman
chestii mult mai bune. Bă, track-urile low-key arată bine, Balenciaga track-urile, dar au fost distruse de bombardieri cu aia. Și de români.
arrives with the deal of your lifetime. Give me
copii
all
proști
your
de pe
money
TikTok.
you can gather, and I shall grant you 8 times that amount in a couple of...
Stai că n-am fost atent cu aia, let's go.
Descending like an angel from the skies, a humble gentleman arrives with the deal of your lifetime. Give me all your money you can gather, and I shall grant you 8 times that amount in a couple of months. This is your last chance at getting
biggest
rich.
scam of-
You're desperate
exact.
and broke. So you sell your
Scheme
fridge,
piramidale.
your furniture, and anything you can get your hands on to get as much profit as possible. You make the long journey to the Romanian Eldorado, aka Cluj, and deposit
Cluj, Romanian, Eldorado cu aia, what the fuck? Bro. Cluj e low-key, dacă stau un pic așa să mă gândesc, e low-key, cel mai aproape loc de iad. De la
all
din
your
România.
household savings, waiting for your glorious
Glumesc, bă, ăștia
eightfold
din Cluj nu mă
return.
urâți.
And then
Eu am
you
stat în
wait,
Cluj, sunt ardelean de-a
and
vostru
wait,
din Mureș.
and wait.
Fac Cluj.
Congratulations! You just fell for the Caritas scam. The
Caritas, bro, despre Caritas e vorba! Na, bă, bunicile voastre sigur au picat cu aia la Caritas. 100% bunicile voastre, măcar o dată în viața asta, au picat la Caritas. E imposibil.
biggest pyramid scheme in Romanian history. Hundreds of thousands of hapless Romanians
Bro, Caritas
like
a
you
fost-
scammed
mamă.
of billions
Bă, s-au
of dollars worth of goods and
îmbogățit,
savings,
vere
all
îmbogățit
vanished
ăștia.
in an instant. How did Caritas
Și-a
grow
fost și
into this
semi-legal,
infamous
crazy.
nationwide pyramid scheme? How did so many people fall for it? And what happened to their savings? It all begins with a simple man, Ion Stoica, an accountant from Brasov. 2 years after the fall of Ceausescu's communist dictatorship,
Bro.
Romania was still in utter chaos, struggling to transition to a capitalist economy and plagued by mutual aid games, competing for who can scam more people. Thus, the stage was set for Stoica
Valentino donate 3 euros con
Te
70.
pup, Valentino,
Te
mersi
pup,
frumos de
to
donațion.
launch his very own get-rich-quick scheme.
Ce e Caritas? E Caritas. Ascultă că acum zice.
Under the Caritas LLC. Conceptually, Caritas was nothing more than a textbook Ponzi scheme. I feel it's been a while since a YouTuber explained what a Ponzi scheme is, so let me break it down. You attract a few eager investors who get paid out with investments of more recent investors. Everyone was incentivized to recruit others, so they themselves had higher chances of getting their money back, while people at the bottom of this food chain could kiss their savings goodbye. Curious, it kinda looks like a pyramid from back here. And that's exactly how the Caritas scheme worked. At first, it was just another mutual aid game like any other in Brasov. Then, Stoica moved his base of operations to Cluj-Napoca, where he
Normal,
signed
bro.
an advertisement deal with the local newspaper Transylvanian Messenger. This publication played a huge role in cleaning up Stoica's image. From a literal nobody with a not-so-clean record, he was revered as a humble workaholic who sheds blood, sweat, and tears for the betterment of the people. Caritas
da.
became a noble mission, meant to ease Romania's transition into capitalism and break
Dar tu unde stai, Ducky?
as many people out of the shackles of poverty as possible. Eightfold returns on any investment in 2 months? Sounds ridiculous, impossible, too good to be true, doesn't it? But if one man could put an end to poverty in Romania, it's gotta be Ion Stoica, goddammit! And so,
Da, mă,
thanks
da.
to the noble cause and
Bro, trebuie să mă uit iarăși la Better Call Saul.
positive media coverage,
Better Call
people
Saul
took
Goat,
the
e prea
bait.
bun
At
Better Call
first,
Saul, bro.
only citizens of Cluj were
Ce scrie aici? Ce scrie aici, chat? Ce scrie aici? Ăsta e iadul pe pământ. Credeți-mă, nu-i Cluj-Napoca. Îmi retrag cuvintele. Târgu Mureș e iadul pe pământ. Coaie mutanți pe stradă, ești nebun. De la combinatul ăla vere, de la Azo Mureș, am inhalat toată viața, ești nebun. Numai noxe de alea, ce iese de pe acolo. Mutanți ne-au făcut, vere, mutanți. Numai oameni cu 3 picioare, 4 mâini, 4 brațe, 3 țâțe. Numai de astea vezi pe stradă, ești nebun.
Allowed to deposit cash into Stoka's
Să
bank
nu ieși în Târgu
However,
Mureș la
in
ora 3 dimineața, ora diavolului.
1993, the scheme was open to anyone across the country.
Îți dau bani,
Sales
Taki.
of the Messenger skyrocketed, being the only newspaper where the winners of the scheme were posted, and Ioan Stoica was glazed endlessly as the angel of capitalism and charity. A true genius of the Carpathians, not like that fucking other guy. More doubters were converted into believers, and many more chose to pawn their goods and home appliances
Cea mai bună facultate de medicină e la voi la Mureș. Păi facultatea de medicină e singurul lucru ce ține orașul ăla în viață, bro.
to
Facultatea de medicină și spălătorie la fisă. Ăla e singurul lucru ce ține orașul în viață. Să
maximize
mor
their
eu.
profit.
Bă, îs mai multe vere farmacii și spălătorii la jeton în Mureș decât magazine să-ți cumperi lapte, coaie, apă, să-ți cumperi o pâine.
Go big or go home. Life savings.
Că legit, oamenii din Mureș ce fac? Se duc cu mașina la mall sus acolo, se spală mașina, bam, pe centură și după aia se duc la mall sus, la o țigară, la o sămânță, atâta, că în rest n-ai ce să faci în orașul ăla de căcat.
All on red. That's what I always say, baby. This mentality
Cazinouri
quickly
și amanet, man. Come on, ăla e București, bro. Aici în București e cazinouri și amanet.
affected the whole country, turning Caritas from a local curiosity into a national crisis. Kind of like the NFT bubble in the USA. At its peak, the scheme's terrifying scale became clear. It was estimated that between 35 and 50...
Băi, dacă sunteți din Mureș și sunteți tineri, fugiți, bă, fugiți de mâncați pământul, fugiți de mâncați pământul, că o să vă mănânce orașul ăla de vii. Ascultați-mă, eu sunt din Mureș, frate, de când m-am mutat din Mureș mi s-a întors viața. Nu că mi s-a întors viața 180 de grade. Aici eram în Mureș, aici sunt acum, coaie. Neironic. Bro, fugiți, ascultați ce zic. Că nu vă zic prost.
...% of Romanian
Lăsați
households...
vrăjelile și prietenii și astea, că prietenii aia o să vă mănânce. De vii, bă, o să vă mănânce prietenii aia voștri care îi aveți acum în Mureș. Pentru că o să ajungeți toți în punctul în care nu o să mai puteți să faceți nimic cu viața voastră, că ați ajuns la picul picului în Mureș. Că mai mult de atât nu se poate. Și după aia o să vă mâncați pe voi, reciproc.
...were directly involved.
Da, asta nu se aplică numai la Mureș, bro. Asta se aplică la orice oraș mic din România. Dacă nu ai un job stabil de viitor în orașul respectiv, gen, get the fuck out.
According to the president of BNR, the National Bank of Romania, Caritas held around a third of Romania's money supply in its financial circuit. In total, this Ponzi scheme swallowed somewhere between $1 billion and $5 billion worth of the population's savings, making it one of the largest financial frauds in history and utterly devastating to Romania's fragile post-communist economy. But you know what doesn't have to be devastating?
Dar voi știți că încă Ponzi schimburile astea mai există, sunt oameni legit care încă fac căcaturi de genul. Și mai ales targetează pensionari cu chestia că vă puneți banii aici și o să-i aveți la pensie, man. Shut the fuck up. Dacă vreau să-mi pun banii într-un trust fund ăsta sau într-un savings account, mă duc direct la bancă să fac chestia asta. Nu trebuie să intru prin societatea ta de căcat să fac chestia asta, legit. Orice bancă cred că are program de ăsta de pensie, unde îți dă și dobândă.
Your language learning experience, and that's why you should use Fluent U.
Developerul de la Bird Game 3 din Târgu Mureș. Bă, Târgu Mureșul, coaie, neironic, frate, eu îmi iubesc oamenii din Târgu Mureș, frate, frații din Târgu Mureș. Îs mega inteligenți oamenii din Târgu Mureș și așa mai departe. Problema e că stau în Târgu Mureș, trebuie să plece, bro, ca să poată să-și atingă potențialul. Că în Târgu Mureș nu-ți atingi potențialul, te duci în pământ.
Fluent U is...
Și la fel, v-am zis, îmi pare rău că pun pauză, opa, asta e.
It's no wonder that this pyramid scheme reached the ridiculous heights it did. Romanian time was practically engineered to be as financially gullible as possible. Just look at the average Romanian at the time. The only thing they grew up with was a heavily monitored economy ruled by an authoritarian shoemaker. After the fall of communism, they were simply thrown to the wolves, forced to learn foreign concepts like markets and enterprises.
Dar dacă ești la facultate de medicină acolo, păi da, mă, da, ăla e singurul lucru worth, gen, legit. Bro, economia din Mureș, în mare parte, mai ales la cafenele și la de-astea, sunt făcute de oamenii care vin la facultate în Mureș.
All by themselves, not to mention the deep distrust in traditional banks, mostly state-owned or anything to do with the government. But collective Romanian naivety about market economics alone doesn't explain why and how Caritas in particular grew so big. It's not like it was the only Ponzi scheme happening in Romania at the time. So why did so many people put their hopes and dreams into Ioan Stoica and his company? As it turns out, Stoica successfully paid off the promised eightfold...
Bro, citezează francuz! Man, ăsta de face clipul are elite ball knowledge, bro! Elite ball knowledge! Parce că să te bag în pizda mătii!
For the first investors, an important step in ensuring the ongoing success of a Ponzi scheme.
Romania
Subsequent
mention.
winners are always published
David,
daily
ce clip
on the
vine, trebuie să
Messenger,
stai aici
which
să te
gave
uiți, că vine un
Caritas
clip
more
insane.
credibility than the average mutual aid scheme. The Transylvanian Messenger also played a huge role in convincing its readers and
Donated €1. Nu react, ride pe life.
Nu fac raiduri, bro, I'm sorry.
recruiting future investors while constantly inflating Stoica's public image. At the height of his popularity, Stoica landed an interview on the national television channel TVR, granting him and Caritas even more credibility and trustworthiness. Caritas grew more popular and less eyebrow-raising, as the only media coverage it got was positive, and the Romanian government, as apathetic and useless as always, did nothing to combat its growth. Even before the rise of Caritas, there were plenty of other outrageous scams that should have forced the government's hand.
Cum erau oamenii care au băgat în Caritas, bro, așa erau.
By then. And even when Caritas got too big to handle, politicians voted against making pyramid schemes illegal, citing that it would cause public outrage. I mean, NATO, Russia, dude. Legalizing pyramid schemes? Now that's reality.
Bro, elite ball knowledge, Băsescu 3D, coaie, de unde știe omul ăsta toate mimurile astea underground, coaie? Bă, de unde le știe? Băsescu 3D, fucking crazy.
In fact, why should politicians or the SRI pull the plug on Caritas when there were so many of them that profited off of it? This is Romania, after all. If you invest your money here, you're just asking to lose it. While Ioan Stoica was the founder and mastermind behind Caritas, the scheme would have been nothing without the help and influence of influential people like Gheorghe Funar, a conspiracy theorist and total nutjob, but crucially, Cluj-Napoca's mayor.
We have a new train line here in Cluj-Napoca, Emil Boc. We have a store there. Romania is not poor, not third world country. New lines, you see. Everything brand new.
As the ultranationalist mayor of Cluj, Funar didn't just endorse the scam, he effectively made it an arm of the municipal government. The city council allowed Caritas to use key public spaces like the sports hall and parts of the city hall to manage the immense queues of depositors, giving the fraud the absolute seal of official legitimacy. But the relationship ran even deeper. In a surreal twist, Caritas allegedly sponsored city renovations, funding work on roads, hospitals, and sports venues.
Burj Khalifa e Târgu Mureș. În Târgu Mureș, doamne, în Cluj.
Actively helping the community.
Trebuie să uităm la... Bă, coaie, mi-am dat eu microfonul mai încet, că a zis că e prea tare și nu se mai aude acum.
Winner lists, the aforementioned Transylvania Messenger was basically just a political annex owned by the Cluj prefecture, broadcasting Caritas get-rich-quick propaganda day after day. This political entanglement turned a simple financial fraud into a state-endorsed social movement. Gheorghe Funar had only to gain from hosting this pyramid scheme in his domain: positive publicity and tourism, more money for him and his political party, and a way to spread his agenda. Because how can you make a pyramid scheme more popular?
Eu cred că Daki merită un an mod.
When foreign economists and financial experts from the IMF began to express their concern over the legitimacy of Caritas, Funar and his cronies doubled down, calling Caritas a Romanian miracle in the face of foreign cynicism and malice, and also blamed George Soros, naturally. Also, emphasis on Romanian miracle.
Elite ball knowledge, bro. Elite ball knowledge. Și clipul ăsta. Elite ball knowledge, bro.
Also, emphasis on Romanian miracle. You invest your money and in 5 seconds...
Bro, ăsta s-o dat debank la omul ăsta, bro. Ăsta e scam. Nu e rapid, îți dă speed up la clipuri. Și ce zic, eu sunt mai rapid decât el.
Some guy steals it. A true pinnacle of Romanian innovation. 1993 was the pinnacle of Caritas's fraud. I've already mentioned the numbers between 35 and 50% of Romanian households. A third of Romania's money supply rolled between $1 to $5 billion of the population savings involved, yada yada yada. However, keep in mind that Caritas was supposed to pay that money back eightfold. Naturally, some people ask themselves where their supposed winnings were coming from, spawning a couple of theories, like how Caritas had access to Ceausescu's secret vaults, or that the money would come from the Securitate's hidden accounts. I mean, hell, who knows? Stoica may even have found the ancient Dacian tunnels and the gold they hoarded against the Romans. I don't know. These theories were merely the result of people deluding themselves that their investments had to pay off. The amount of money collected from foolish Romanians was so insanely large that once the rug was pulled, people struggled to fathom how someone could invest or spend it, spawning even more conspiracy theories. These ranged from the credible ones that the money went into Funar and his political party's accounts, to the insane ones that the billions of dollars were actually secret payments to NATO, either to guarantee Romania's entry or to fund the Yugoslav wars next door. You thought the Jews run the world? Silly little lamb. It was the Romanians all along. But these numbers, while they seem
Noi chiar controlăm lumea. Dacă stai un pic să te gândești. Dacă stai un pic să te gândești, chiar jur că controlăm lumea, bro.
Unfathomable, failed to tell the tragic story lived by so many Romanians. The queues outside the Cluj offices were immense, as more and more desperate souls made the pilgrimage to the Romanian Mecca. People would travel for days by train with their pensions, wedding savings, or money from selling their family livestock or home appliances. Entire villages pooled their funds, entrusting the community's future to one elected representative sent to Cluj. Neighbors who had nothing suddenly became...
Bro, îți dai seama, frate, ești nebun, săracii oameni, toți banii pe care îi aveau și-o scos ca să-i bage în Caritas, man, crezând că o să îi ia de 8 ori înapoi, fac 8x. Îți dai seama, se puneau la coadă cu toți banii și-au vândut tot, găinile, caii, vacile, tot.
Fierce competitors, either loaning money at loan shark rates to desperate depositors or lining up again the moment their first massive payout came through, convinced the miracle was infallible. For them, it was literally a matter of life and death. And it was all for naught. In the fall of '93, more and more international news outlets reported on the Caritas scheme in Romania and began predicting its demise. Over time, more and more Romanian publications also started to shed some light on the scam. Worse than that, more and more investors were tired of waiting for their returns and were growing impatient and angry. So, what did Stoica do? He tried to buy as much time as possible and play the victim, delaying payments and making up fake stories of thieves breaking the Caritas vault, presenting himself as a folk hero.
Îți dai seama, man, să iei miliarde de dolari de la oameni și să zici că a fost vina hoților cu aia, hackerii. Fută-i dracu de hackeri.
Being persecuted by jealous rivals and foreign agents for trying to get the Romanian people out of squalor. Hey Stoica, I'm here for my money back.
Romanian Final Boss.
Yeah.
Romanian Final Boss pe model de Half-Life 2 e fucking crazy.
I don't have it. What do you mean?
Cristi Popescu a fost, da, o dat restart.
You won't believe me. But last night, I was just preparing your payout, and when I went to sleep, I was awoken by a blue light.
Nu mai zic
A
cu aia, gata.
UFO busted down my roof, and they beamed up the vault.
Bro, tu îți dai seama că living room-ul ăsta pe care îl vezi tu aici în spate, exact așa cum e,
A UFO.
exact așa cum e, fii atent, TV-ul cu vază, cu mileu sub ea, cu flori în ea, sub, trebuie neapărat o comodă de asta cu geam, care geamul ăla aproape că cade de acolo, cu porțelan în spate sau tot felul de pahare, sub aici cărți și acte, aici în stânga tot așa, un fel de comodă unde îți puneai șosetele, după aia un pat gen, un fel de pat, ce e ăsta? Pat canapia cu dulapul ăsta clasic cu cărți de deasupra, era the shit, bro. Era the shit pe vremuri. The shit. Și știu mirosul, efectiv mirosul care e în camera asta. Cel mai slavic lucru posibil e living room-ul ăsta.
Busted down my roof, and they beamed up the vault.
Băi,
I
frumoasă
tried
rău
to
de tot
fight
planta
them
asta,
and hold on
frumoasă
to
rău.
vault, but their technology
Ferigă e aia,
was
bro, nu-i
far
palmier.
beyond my bare hands. All futile attempts, as the writing was on the wall. In 94, he
Vedem
was
mâine,
ultimately
Robert.
forced to close shop, but ensured his poor investors that this was only temporary, that he was just reorganizing things, and that everyone would get their money back. The money never came, obviously, and the inevitable finally arrived in the summer of
După video ăsta ne
94,
uităm.
with the official bankruptcy of
Începem să ne
Caritas,
uităm la pic.
swiftly followed by the arrest of Stoica. The Cluj tribunal sentenced him to 7 years of jail for fraud, but after an appeal, the sentence was reduced to only 2 years.
2 ani în închisoare și ești afară, ești miliardar.
Still unsatisfied, Stoica reduced his sentence even more, and he only served 1 year and 6 months. Following his
bro.
jail time, he moved back to Brasov as a ruined man. In 2021, news broke out that he was kicked out of his flat for not paying his utilities. This turned out to be false because he had died 2 years before in a hotel room. And that was the Caritas scheme, a devastating Ponzi scheme that was in the right place at the right time. A seemingly mundane and crude scam that preyed on the Romanian people's lack of financial education and got out of control either due to institutional complacency or thanks to the support of sinister people in power looking to spread their influence, agenda, and money. But just like the other scams that ran rampant in 90s Romania, Caritas was a harsh
Ești milionar de la pușcărie, dar poate ești coleg cu vreunul pe care l-ai ars.
lesson for many Romanians, teaching them to be penny wise and precautious when deals like this are too good to be true. And Romanians never fell for scams like Caritas ever again.
Dai seama, dacă scapi săpunul, aoleu, te arde el pe tine după. Bă, da, bun videoclip, mi-a plăcut, Caterinca.